So I alluded to this a little bit earlier. Vibrant Vets have 123 people in rural South Georgia where people are farmers or teachers. That's your kind of job path. And I met a professor at a Young Writers Conference who had gotten some funding to make a documentary about a Western character actor named Deb Taylor. And so I convinced my mom that it was great for me to do this thing. And so with about $50,000, we went to all these states. I'm like figuring out how to shoot, how to edit. We got to interview John Mellencamp, Dixie Carter from Designing Women, David Zucker, who directed the Naked Gun and Airplane movies. And through all this process, I'm working with agencies, firing off letters from my tiny town. They're beautifully well-written 5-paragraph epics that I'm sure no one actually read. But the 80% of the people that said no, 20% said yes. And we have film. It was a really shitty film. It was awful. Didn't know what we were doing, didn't know how to shoot, didn't know how to edit, didn't know about sound, but that process taught me a lot about how to put something together and how to work with people and how to write and how to speak. And through those processes, I said, this is what I want to do with my life. I want to work in film. And I went to college at Georgia Southern because my family didn't have much money, so we couldn't go to a fancy film school. I went on the Hope Scholarship, which is a scholarship for people in Georgia with a 3.5 GPA or higher. The state pays for your entire tuition if you maintain it. And I got a degree in public relations after I talked to my department chair about what would be helpful for me in pursuing my film goals. Got that PR degree because it taught me how to do things like this, how to pitch, how to package, how to present. And in the meantime, I'm making my own stuff by financing it with wedding videos and high school graduation videos, which are surprisingly lucrative for those of you that like are kind of into trying to figure out a way to make money to finance your stuff. And then I turn that money around into buying my own equipment and starting to make my own stuff. And when I was 20, I made the connection that if I hired professional actors, if I became a signatory with the Screen Actors Guild, I could elevate my work in a way that a lot of my peers were not. And so the first short film I ever wrote was a film called The Car Wash. I wrote it for Dixie Carter, but she had just died. And doing this documentary for school, I met a woman named Edith Ivey who had just played The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. And so I contacted her agent and they read the script and she called me back and I'm fucking terrified because she just worked with David Fincher. I'm like, who am I? You know, and she calls me and she said, I can't believe anyone under 50 wrote this material. I will do it immediately. And so she clears her schedule and she became a great mentor of mine early on and appeared in 4 or 5 projects that I had done in my career. And from there, that started going to festivals. I went to the National Film Festival for Talented Youth in Seattle, which is the biggest festival for people in the world under 24. Changed my life. I met my first mentor there that was the chairman of the CW network who invited me to their upfronts in New York a week after I graduated from college, which was a wild experience going to a small school in South Georgia and showing up in New York for Media Week. It was crazy at the behest of the network executive. And from there, I started making more stuff. I made my first short film followed after that using financing from people that believed in me. After that, went on to make my first feature film for a Bollywood producer, which we shot for 4 weeks in India, 2 weeks in Georgia. It was released theatrically in India. Then went on to work for Hillary Clinton, doing advertising in 2016, one of the 12 folks that did the Facebook videos that you might have seen, interviewing people like Miley Cyrus and Tim Kaine, Madeleine Albright, really wide swath of folks. And that brought me to where we are now, where I've been doing documentaries, shorts, advertising for Caesar's Palace and various entities ever since. And I've got 3 scripts that I'm in various stages of development on that I'm going to proceed with shortly. So all of that is to say that everything builds upon everything. There's not one thing that's not connected. There's not one thing that doesn't happen. I met this guy at a film festival in Savannah in 2013. I met her today, but we have a mutual friend that's an editor that we've both known for a while. And so it's a small world, and you really never know where things are going to end up. So the best thing that I can tell you about starting out is make a good impression, be a good person, and people will usually follow.
There's a lot of stuff that I didn't know about you, actually. We have been friends for quite a while, and there's some new information that came out. So, what was the question again? I'm so overwhelmingly interested by the two story now.
So, Elyes, the reason that you're on this